Hey everyone, how's it going? Forrest here, again with another installment of my complete analysis of all of J.S. Bach's chorale harmonizations. Today we're looking at Christ ist auferstanden, which translates to Christ is risen. All in all, it's a pretty interesting chorale. I think the ending is where the majority of the intrigue in this chorale lies, but the rest of the chorale pretty much functions normally harmonically, so we'll try our best to get through that content and then spend more time on the end where there's a little bit more contrapuntal activity as well as some mode mixture. So let's hop into the analysis. So 3 sharps in the key signature. We start on A major. We end on F sharp major. So I think we have kind of a conflict between the beginning key and the key of the chorale. I think we start in A major and we end in F sharp minor. So we will see where the chorale takes its shifts. So our first cadence is a imperfect authentic cadence in the key of A major. We start off with A major in root position. Then we have G sharp, B, D, and E, which is E7 over, it's just G sharp, B, E, and B, which is E major over G sharp, which is 5-6 in passing. And then we have F sharp, C, F sharp, and A, which is an F sharp minor triad in root position. That's a 6 chord. And then we have G sharp, B, E, and B, which is another E major triad in first inversion, which is a 5-6 chord. And then we cadence on A major, A, E, and C sharp, which is root position. Our next cadence is a perfect authentic cadence in the key of A major. We start off with another E major over G sharp, G sharp, B, E, and E, which is another 5-6 chord. And then we get A, E, and C sharp, which is our tonic triad. Then we get a rotation of the lower 3 voices, so we have C sharp, E, A, and C sharp, which is kind of like taking the chord and putting it in first inversion. Then we have C sharp, E, G, E, G sharp, and B with the passing 7th in the tenor. That is a root position E major triad, which is our 5 chord. And then we cadence on A major, A, C sharp, E, and A, which is our tonic triad. Our next cadence is a perfect authentic cadence in the key of F sharp minor. So let's look and see. And I think we modulate straight ahead because we have E sharp in the bass immediately afterwards. So we can call this A major chord our mediant in the key of F sharp minor. It's a common chord between the 2 keys. We then have E sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and C sharp, which is C sharp major over E sharp. That's our dominant in first inversion. We then have F sharp, C, F sharp, and A, which is our tonic triad, F sharp minor in root position. Then we have a couple of non-chord tones. We have B, D, G sharp, and B. That's G sharp diminished in first inversion, so that would be 2-6, happening on an offbeat, so we put it in parentheses. And then we have E, C sharp, E sharp, and G. However, I think the C sharp is, apologies, that C sharp is part of the chord. This is a 5 chord with a passing 7th on the offbeat before we cadence on F sharp minor, F sharp, A, C sharp, and F sharp, which is our tonic. So 2-6 going to 5 is a standard or a normative progression. Our next cadence is another cadence in the key of A major, another imperfect authentic cadence akin to the beginning of the chorale. But it's interesting, we have this D sharp here, so we're looking for some type of tonicization of E. One might even say that we go to the key of E, it just doesn't quite sound that way to me. But here we start off with F sharp minor, and then we go to G sharp, B, F sharp, and B, which is kind of an interesting chord. I had to look at this one for a while, so maybe someone would call it a 7-7 chord that's half diminished. However, I think what's happening is this F sharp is a 7-6 suspension over the bass that gets ornamented on the and of the same beat. So I think what's really being implied here is 5-6 in the key of A major, and that this F sharp minor chord, F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and A, is actually our pivot back to the key of A major, and we can call that our 6. So this F sharp is a suspension, and this E is when we get the full realization of the chord, G sharp, B, E, and B, with a passing tone in the bass. And then we get B, B, D sharp, and F, that is B major in root position. That is the dominant of the dominant, 5 of 5. We get a passing 7th here. The chord kind of turns into a 7 chord here, so I'll just put that there to offer that analysis, but just 5 of 5 is happening here before we get C sharp, G, C sharp, and E, which is our mediant in the key of A sharp. This would be the equivalent of 5 going to 6 in the key of E major, because B would be our dominant and C sharp would be our 6. So this is a roundabout way of saying that same thing. But I think all in all we're in the key of A major here, at least that's what it sounds like to me. Okay, then we have F sharp, C sharp, and A. That is F sharp minor in root position, that's a 6 chord. And 3 wants to go to 6, so that's a good sign. We have a couple of non-chord tones here. Sorry, that F sharp is a chord tone, no need to mark it. And here we get G sharp, C sharp, G sharp, C sharp, E, and B. That's C sharp, sorry, is that right? G sharp, C sharp, E, and oh no, sorry, this is the C that's the accented non-chord tone. I marked it here before because we were in the key of F sharp minor, but this is the C sharp that's the non-chord tone. This is G sharp, B, E, and B, which is E major over G sharp, so 5-6. Before we cadence on 1, A, E, and C sharp. And it's imperfect authentic because we don't have the tonic in the melody. Unlike the following phrase, or the second phrase rather, where we have A in the melody. Our next cadence is our first non-authentic cadence. It's a half cadence in the key of F sharp minor, because we cadence on this C sharp major triad here, which is indicative of that. We get another A major triad with the rotation of the inner voices. No need to reanalyze. And then we get D, D, F sharp, and A, which is a root position D major triad. That's 4 in the key of A major. And you could analyze the modulation as early as this D right here, but I think it sounds like it happens here on this beat. It happens on B, D, F sharp, and B, which is a B minor triad in root position. And I think that is 4 in the key of F sharp minor. We then get E sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and C sharp, which is a C sharp major over E sharp. It's 5-6. We get F sharp, C sharp, F sharp, and A, which is our tonic triad, F sharp minor. And here we are getting ready for the cadence. We have B, D, F sharp, and G sharp. That's G sharp minor 7 flat 5 over B, so that's 2-6-5. You know that Bach loves his 2-6-5 chords. Then we have some non-chord tones here. We have C sharp, E sharp, and G, which is like a passing 5 chord, before we get D, B, F sharp, and F sharp, which would be B minor over D. That would be 4-6, and this C sharp would be a suspension over that, a 7-6 suspension to be more specific. And then we cadence on C sharp, E sharp, C sharp, and G, which is our 5 chord in the key of F sharp minor. And this would more specifically be a Phrygian half cadence, because we have the 6 of the chord, or the 6 of the scale going down to the 5 of the scale. The 4-6 going to 5 is a particular permutation of the half cadence. Alright, last cadence. You think we would end in a perfect authentic cadence, but I think we end in a plagal cadence in the key of F sharp, and we have a little bit of interesting material going on here. So we start things off with A sharp, F sharp, C sharp, and F sharp. That is F sharp major in in first inversion. And I think what's happening here is, if we look ahead, we have passing tone here, and then we have E natural, and that is indicative of a dominant 7 chord. So I think what's happening is we're actually getting 5-6 of 4 here. We're tonicizing B minor, and the chord on the next beat turns into 6-5 because we get the 7 introduced, but the bass doesn't change. And here's a very interesting moment. We have B, C sharp, E, and F. And I think what's happening here is there is some type of contrapuntal fusing of a resolution and a continuation of the dominant. Because here, if we look, we have B and F sharp, but we have the C sharp and the E natural here as accented non-chord tones. And when they resolve, we get C sharp in the bass, which changes the quality of the chord. But if we look at the passing tones here, or the neighbor tone and the passing tone, we get A sharp, C sharp, C sharp, and F sharp, which is like a restatement of the same dominant. So I think ultimately what's happening here is we get 4 in root position, but I think it's very possible that you could also analyze this as, even though I think 4 is what's happening here, and then these become accented non-chord tones on this beat. Sorry, let me go ahead and finish the analysis before I start offering the secondary analyses. And then we get 5, 6, 4 of 4, right? Because that's what will ultimately happen on the next beat. It's kind of hard to say for certain exactly what is happening here because there are aspects of both chords. But I think that's ultimately what's happening here, is that we have a 4 chord that resolves late but is interrupted and then turns into another chord, but the ideas for each of the harmonies are present. Okay, so next beat we have D, B, B, and F sharp, which is our 4/6 chord, B minor over D, with a passing tone in the alto. And then we get B, B, D, and F sharp, which is just taking the same chord and putting it in root position, neighbor tone in the melody, and then we get F sharp major, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and F, root position tonic, which is what makes this a plagal cadence, minor 4 going to major tonic. I think it's really interesting that we see the recontextualization of the chord here as the tonic at the end, because here it really does feel like it wants to go to B, and then B wants to resolve to F sharp. But the fact that we got to B minor through F sharp means that the dominant and the chord functioning as both a dominant and a tonic are happening in such close proximity to one another. It's really interesting. But with that, our analysis is concluded for today. This is a pretty interesting chorale. I think that ending really made up for an otherwise pretty plain chorale. Not to say that plain is bad, but as we continue to analyze these chorales together, we definitely get used to the excitement of the interesting chorales. So when we get a stint of chorales that don't have a lot of harmonic development, or they operate more or less exactly the way that you would expect a tonal chorale to operate, then it's not the most interesting to look at. But regardless, we have the analysis. It was a quaint chorale for a slow Sunday for me, so it was nice to look at. Let me know if you had any other opinions about the analysis. What did you think? I'm really excited to hear what you have to say if you so choose to say it. And I look forward to tomorrow's analysis. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and thank you so much for continuing to watch my videos. I've really enjoyed this journey so far, and I'm really excited to keep going on it. I have tons and tons of videos planned for the future, so if you want to go along on this journey for me and get notified when you, or rather when I upload a video, think about subscribing and hitting the notification button. I'm going to be uploading a video every day, like I just said, so if you're interested in looking at Bach's vocal music, more specifically his chorales, this is going to be a one-stop shop for all of the analysis, and at least the way that I analyze it, which hopefully is helpful for you in better understanding the music, or if you're just a harmony student and you're curious about how harmony in Bach's music operates. And on that note, I will cap off today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you take care.